Welcome back to the Atari ST Nostalgia GFA Basic tour. Now, in the previous videos we familiarized ourselves with the GFA Basic editor interface, and we learned lots of basic stuff to create a nice little demo program at the end. And I found getting to know GFA Basic again so much fun, I decided actually to do some follow-up videos. I did a correction video before, but now I will explore some new stuff. And in this video I want to explore actually a bit more the print command to print stuff on screen. So let's go into the interface, and as you can see I am in direct mode. And so of course the standard print command is not very fancy. I just say hello world, but as you can see the printout is actually always done at the location where the cursor was at that time. And what if I just want to print my text in a specific location? Now GFA Basic also has a command for that, which is print at. And print at works very simple. It just say print at, and I have to put a position here. In this case I will put 34.12, and I will explain later what that means. And I will say again hello world. And now you can see it put it right in the center at the screen, and it means the location, the 34, is actually the 34th column of text and on the 12th line of text. So in the high resolution mode, the monochrome mode I'm running right now, it means I have 80 columns, so it's 40 is the half of the screen, and I deducted a few to account for the width of the text I'm typing. And there's 24 lines in one screen that you can print. So you can manually easily find the position here. Now of course, if I wanted to center my text, but my text might change in a little while, and I don't want to be manually altering code all the time or counting the numbers, what you can actually do is also use a command to determine the length and then automatically position your text. For instance, if I put in some string equals, oh, I made a typo, sorry, equals, this is a string of text. Yeah, it will ask me, do you want to use a variable? Yes, please. And I can print the length of the string by using the len command. So I will say print len and then string, and it will actually give me the value. So in this case it will get me the length of 23, and I can then use a sort of simple formula to center the text. I can show you this by actually loading a little program I wrote before. Where is it? Print number 1. I don't want to be typing in all the codes anyway. So I made some strings. I made a string any key string, which just says press any key to go again. And in that case, I said, okay, if you type some text, I will print it at the middle of the screen, ask for some input, and store the value in text string. And then I say, okay, print at 40 minus the length of the text string divided by 2, and at line 12 print it, and then pause for 2 seconds, and then basically do the same with the any key string. So this is just a formula. Half of the screen is 40, and I want to do it minus the length of the text and divide it just to show the half of the length of the text. Basically do it on line 12, pause a bit, and then do the same. Ask for an input. In this case I use the command key presses input2 instead of void input2, but they both do the same. And after that I will just run the program again. So which basically does, okay, what is your text? This is my very long text. I can use dots. I can use except a comma. For some reason it doesn't like that, but and it will put it at the center of the screen. So I can press any key to go again. Doesn't matter what I type, but as you can see, it calculates the length of the text and then it puts it at the center of the screen. So it's a very easy formula. Of course, I could have also put this in a variable, which is actually maybe a bit easier. So let's say, yeah, but I have to do it twice. So in this code, it doesn't really matter. But this is a very simple way if you want to print something at the screen, but you want the text always to be at the center. Of course, it will only be accurate by 1 character width. So if your number of characters is not even but odd, then it will not be exactly at the center of the screen. But for now, this is the best way to do it with just a print. Now, since we're getting fancy with the print command, and I know these are really simple examples, I also want to show you something that, yes, you can also, this print add command, you can actually use random numbers with it as well. So I've written some really simple code. In this case, I say, okay, I will count from 1 till 50. Each time I will determine an X and a Y position for my print add command, pause for 1/10 of a second, and then do it again. And when it's finished, I will just ask for a key input. And in this case, I use the void int2 command. These are all commands we've actually used before. So the position, because the text I'm going to print is just high, it's 2 characters. And I want it not to be too close to the edge of the screen. So the minimum position, it should be in column 2 at least. So I want to have 1 free column at the beginning. And then a random of 77. So the maximum value is actually 2 plus 77 minus 1 is position 78. Which means the H will be at 78 and the I will be at 79. And if L goes well, there should always be some white space to the right of the screen as well. And I just did 50 because it is not a very fast procedure. So if you run this one, you can see you can do, like we did with dots and boxes and circle, you can actually do some random placement of text around the screen. Yeah, this is not very useful. I know that. It's just a way to see, like, you can use this command and you can sort of combine it with a lot of stuff. Now, of course, I'm also curious what kind of characters I can actually print, because for instance, if I go into direct mode, let me clear the screen here, because the ST has a 255 character set that is very similar to the Windows character set, or the one that used in DOS Windows PCs. And like in those, I can actually use the Alt key and then a code on the numpad to actually type that code. For instance, if I type Alt, let's say 155, and release the cursor, and I get the character beneath that one. So Alt 98 is this one, Alt 35 is actually the number character, and Alt to 48, for instance, is this character. So you can easily find the characters, but yeah, what if I wanted to know actually all the characters that I can print? I want to print them out on the screen so I can actually see which number is which character. I created a small demo. This is called printdem.gfa, which is this basically what it does is, as you can see, it prints 11 columns on the screen, and these 11 columns, it puts a number and then puts the corresponding ASCII character, or the character from the character table behind it. And of course it's interesting to see how we would write such a program. So we have to combine some character input, and we use the print add command to do this. Now, as you can see, the first column starts at 1 and it ends at 24. So I have a counter of 24, and then I have to repeat that process, in this case 11 times, to print the remaining characters. Now, as you can see, I was a bit mean. I just put something at the end of the code to immediately end it. But let's just write this code together. Let's first write the code to actually write the first column. Is 1 to 24. That's something what I want to do. Now the character number I want to count is, in this case, is I, but we might add to that if we do the next columns. I have to put it somewhere. So let's just put a variable for the X position. In this case, it's just it's 1, and of course I don't want to write anything above 255. So if the character is smaller than 256, yeah, I don't need that later, but let's add that later. Let's concentrate on really printing the characters first. So print add, and of course I will start here at the X position And then the position of the line is actually always equal to I in this counter, so that's easy. And then I will have to add some text, and I will output the character number that we've output, which for now is I, but later it will be a bit more complex. And I will then add a equal sign, equals, and I cannot make the column too wide, of course. And now we get something interesting, a new thing that we have to do. CHR string and then char number. What this does is actually it says, okay, for the number that you put here, so I can just write a number here. It will be the same as, it's actually the same as holding the alt code and entering the number, and it will print the character corresponding with that number. In this case, I use the CHR string, so character string command, and I will ask it to write the character corresponding to the number that is actually the same as the character. So in this case, it's still equal to I, but as we build the code, this will get a bit more complex. That's why I'm using a variable for this. And I will just put a space at the end. Oh, hang on, sorry. And a space at the end. And I will do this next I. So this is the base of our code, the really simple one. And I also would like to wait for a key press so the screen doesn't clear immediately. So let's run this code, and what you can see, it put the first 24. But also, as you can see, the first 24 it will not accept as an output for the print command. These are non-printable characters. Well, it's a good start. I don't seem to have any big errors in my program so far. But now the fancy stuff comes, because I have to write, I have to do this 11 times, which means I have to do for column equals 0 to 10, and I will explain you why I actually start counting at 0 instead of hang on, and this exposition here should be gone, because for every column I have to actually calculate the exposition. And if I have 11 columns of text and they are all like 7 positions wide or something, sorry, they can be no more than 7 characters wide. So let's make 7 character wide columns. Of course, the input for the first one is actually 1, and for each column percent I will add this value times 7. So this basically says, okay, in the first column, where the value of column is actually 0, it will be 1, and the next one will be at position 8, and the next one will be at position 15, etc., until it gets to the last column. This is all I have to do within the column statement. The rest is all here. Of course, I also have to change the character, because it will change the same character set all the time. Let me add the next column percent. Now my code should work again. I can actually run it. As you can see, sorry about the beeps. It's because of character 13. I think that it does something very fancy with it. It's a non-printable character, so. But as you can see, I get the 11 columns, so that's nice. But the value of the character is actually always the same. It's from 1 to 24 and it starts over again. So I have to change my code to account for that also, because the character is actually I, but I have to add something. And in this case, I plus column string times 24. Which means in the first column, where column percent is 0, it will be 1, and in the next it will start at 25, and in the next it will start at 49, etc. So that should work. Of course, another one is I only want to print characters that are 255 and lower. So if I run this code, I think it should still work. But as you can see, after 255, it actually continues counting with 256, and there's nothing in that set. It doesn't exist. So that's the only fancy thing we still have to put in our code, which is we enter here. If char string is smaller than 256, then you do this, and else you don't do anything. So I can just put an end if. So we are getting back some commands that we did before. But now we have two finite code loops, but one is embedded in the other one. So basically I'm going to do 11 times, I'm going to set an X position, and from that X position I'm going to do 24 values that are dependent on the first value, and I will only going to print something if the character value is smaller than 256. I hope everybody's still following me. Sometimes I tend to talk a bit too fast. But as you can see, this is the way to print all characters on screen, and you can sort of see them. Of course, we are all curious what's actually in these first two ones, because the print command doesn't allow them, which is actually kind of annoying. I can give some examples when I go to direct mode. I just want to show you that this is the way. This is one way to embed the two codes together. I can also do the other one. Is this the same one? Hang on, I should actually load number 4, I think. Yeah, this is exactly the same code, but what you can see, it draws it the other way around, which also works. But now I just did I let it draw every line first. So basically, the code is a bit more complex. I have to change the X position all the time. But as you can see, I still use the same values, except I now do 11 times in one line and then go to the next line and print them. So that's also a way to do it. It's just something I wanted to show very quickly. So just out of curiosity, what are these characters that we could not draw on screen? Because for some reason, if I put them in the keyboard, they actually work. But for instance, if I do character 14 and character 15, it's actually the Atari logo. So it's actually a pity that it's not printable on Earth. And there's some special characters like for displays. There is also like a clock. 10. Oh, it actually okay. Oh, 10 is actually an enter. So 11 is a musical note. 12. This is 13, it gives some error. You can see it's not meant to be printed on, and I think the printable characters actually start at character number 32, which is a space. Let's just see if I have, this is 27, 26, 25. Yeah, you can see there's quite some special characters. I think some of them are also the characters that are used in the gem logo. But it doesn't really matter, because with the print command, unfortunately, we cannot use them, which is a bit of a pity. I just killed this program. Even if I do print and then use the Alt key to try to print it, if I said, okay, I want to print this Atari logo on screen, the command actually works. It doesn't give a syntax error. It just doesn't print anything. The output stays empty. So there are other ways to do this. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed exploring this print_add command to put stuff on the right side of the screen and using some random values, or using determine the length of the text to put it at the right spot in the screen, which can be used to make your programs like title screens just a little bit more fancy. We will get back to more printing and even more fancy text on screen in a later video. For now, this one I have to end. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.